I'm glad that I'm back. I am all about kicking ass and making reviews.
Back when 3D fighting games started to become popular, we didn't see many fighting games on the N64. The worst fighting game I probably have played on the N64 was Dark Rift. Maybe I should talk about that game in another video review. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dark Rift for the Nintendo 64. Released in 1997 by Vic Tokai and developed by Kronos, the same team who was also responsible for Fear Effect for the PlayStation 1. Dark Rift also happens to be part of a fighting game series in which it has the inclusion of two other games Kronos also developed. Criticom, which was released for the PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn, and Cardinal Syn for the PlayStation 1. Dark Rift also happens to be the second game within the series. All of the games in that series, according to critics, were showered down with low scores. According to Wikipedia, these games were labeled the Trilogy of Terror. So far, I only have acquired Dark Rift. Judging from the cover art itself, it does seem that it may be an awesome game due to the name of the title. But unfortunately, the truth hurts.
Now, for the sake of this review, if you think I'm going to go angry because I'm reviewing a bad game, you are completely wrong. Even though I've seen other reviewers all over the internet, namely the AVGN and Irate Gamer, bitch, cuss, moan, and complain on bad games, or any other game that was pretty much aware of, that was not as bad as what people said it was anyway. But I'm going to show what this game is all about. I'm going to take a look at it, so stay tuned and watch the show.
The story in this game is too weak and undoubtedly forgettable. What we are presented here is that each character in this game are in a treat for traveling through time and space to find the so-called Dark Rift. Each planet is where you will have to face off your opponents at, and every character has his/her own story. If you played Criticom for the PlayStation 1 or Sega Saturn, then this game would be seen as more or less a sequel. Demonica was originally in Criticom, and she makes a return in Dark Rift as well. Originally, the developers of this game was going to consider calling this title Criticom 2. Otherwise, if you're playing this game, take my advice and bypass the story. You will feel dazed and confused trying to figure this out.
Battle commence.
Don't even get me started on the gameplay. My major complaint I have with this game is the AI here. I know fighting games supposed to be challenging, but the problem with this game is that once you progress further on, no doubt you will get your ass handed to you. Even on the easiest difficulty setting, you're bound to take a beating.
Now, the controls in this game is a little weird. You have to use the C buttons in order to perform your attacks. Also, when you press the B button, whenever you're close to your opponent, you can flip them over or do whatever in that game. Also, C button right on the N64 controller in this game will also help you block certain attacks as well. It's a little weird, but it may be a real pain to get used to. Half the time in this game, the controls can be a bit slow and sluggish, and let alone it's also a bit crippled.
Performing moves in this game tends to be ridiculously slow here. There will be times when you don't get a chance to at least block or attack when you want to. Notice how frustrating it can be when you're attacking or defending. Even pulling the special attacks off are such a bitch. Now, I'm not going to say too much on the gameplay aspects because it's just inexcusable for a game to be sluggish like that. Throughout this game, the graphics and design showcased here are summed up in two words: bland and boring. Bland mainly because the textures are quite muddy and it gets dark a lot. Easily reference to the game title, Dark Rift. Now, I understand this is during the time when the 3D era of gaming was fairly new. But keep in mind, many other N64 titles between 1996 and 1997 had better graphics than this game by a long shot, despite the fact that the 3D era wasn't perfected at this time. The VFX in this game are badly executed here. I've seen a lot better on N64 titles back in the day. Boring is because of this reason: the character designs. I mean, the question is, could you at least have some form of variety in a fighting game? The thing is, most of the characters, if not all of them, look like nothing but aliens or whatever the hell. Granted, true, this game is mainly about a fight to victory through time and space. Every stage in this game also bores me to death, and I feel that there should have been more content added in each stage so you won't feel like you're playing in an empty void. And to answer the question, what were they thinking? They weren't. The soundtrack is also forgettable. Not bad, and definitely not the best I've heard in a video game. I've heard better orchestrated music than this. However, not all music in this game would be considered that way. So far, the best theme music in this game, in my opinion, would probably be from the themes of Morphix and Airman stages. The sound effects are pretty weak too. Half the time in a fight, a character's voice will be drowned out from the in-game music. That is unacceptable. Even the Super Nintendo fighter, take World Heroes for example, have better voice sampling than the voices here in this game, and it never gets drowned out. Aside from the mediocre graphics and uninspiring character and level designs, there are two things that gives this game some redeeming points. One, the title screen opening. Other than that long, boring introduction after the Chronos logo, I really like how the title screen comes alive. I felt that this was something that was coming up in my mind saying, oh yeah, this game is going to be awesome because of that badass opening. But the tables have turned if you have heard me talking about the gameplay aspects. 2. I like the fact that this game runs at an astounding 60 frames per second. One of the few N64 titles that actually pulls this off during the time when this game came out. Sure, there were some other N64 games here and there that has that capability, but Dark Rift was a good example there. But that's pretty much the best part of the game anyway, while everything else is just dull, boring, and let alone uninspiring.
To conclude, Dark Rift is a game that is pretty good and enjoyable for a short period of time, but it fails to be as best as other fighters that I have played in the past anyway. Now, what I can say about this game is this. Now, if I were to own a video rental store that only would let you rent retro games for like $1 or $2, I would recommend this game for rental purposes only anyway. I mean, it's not worth a buy anyway, so don't waste your time, buying this game anyway. But for the price of, say, like $8 in play and trade, I mean, it wasn't even worth that price anyway. If I were you, wait till the price goes down on this game anyway. Say, wait till the price goes down to like $1 or something like that. But that's all I have to say. As of now, this is kidThunder signing off. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for future reviews.